Secret 12 or off of Super Male Vitality or off of X2. That's 20% off right now, by the way, but it's about to sell out. That funds what we're doing here. That is really historical. The average CNN show has about 200,000 viewers now. Their top one's about 500,000. Fox top shows, 3-4 million. We have rated on AM and FM affiliates over 3 million a day just on regular radio and TV. We're on a lot of cable systems now, TV stations, you name it. We have on average millions of views a day just on our YouTube channels, not mentioning all the others. Facebook millions a day. I mean, it's sick. We're reaching 28 million people a week now, one way or another. Half of them in the U.S. A lot of ad agencies say, well, why do you, oh, it's terrible. Only half that audience is in the U.S. That's where you make your money. We're not about money. Money funds us to get the word out worldwide against globalism. We're a free market. We're not ashamed of money, but our goal is to defeat the New World Order, the gun grabbers, everybody else. Obama's got a lot of nerve stirring all this stuff up and then stirring up Black Lives Matter, giving all these speeches, and then coming out and blaming the Second Amendment and saying police should reform as if cops in Dallas are to blame for a cop shooting a black guy in the back or whatever in Minnesota. I mean, that's crazy. Peter Schiff, in closing, I wish you and others were wrong, but economics don't lie. A day of reckoning's coming. It's already happening in most areas of the world. Outside, you know, the furthest this can push, how long can their hanky-panky and weird manipulations cover up the fact we're in a global depression? How long can this go on, Peter Schiff?
Well, look, the fact that Donald Trump is the Republican nominee shows you that this is running out. The fact that Bernie Sanders got so much support among Democrats shows you how disgusted the rank and file, people are. The fact that the British, despite all the powers that be from all around the world telling them that all hell would break loose if they voted to leave, they did it anyway, because I guess they figured it was already hell. So let's take a shot. So things that are happening now that you can see is evidence that the wheels are coming off this bus. And how long it's going to take exactly, I'm not smart enough to know. I'm just smart enough to know that it's happening. And hopefully enough people are smart enough to agree with me, and more importantly, to do something about it. Just don't watch it happen. Do something about it. Because if you don't do something about it now, and then there's a collapse, and all you can do is, I wish I would have, could have, should have. I wish I would have, listened to Peter Schiff or Alex Jones. Don't have those regrets. Take action now.
Well, that's right. I mean,
at least you won't have to be
regretting. It was all over the news. It was all over the news at the time. How much did your investors make in 2008 when you predicted all that? It was huge.
In what?
In 2008, your investors, I remember it was in the news.
2008 was a tough year. We made money in 2007 in the subprime.
That's what I meant. 2007, your predictions really were amazing.
In 2007, we did really well. 2008, though, it was a very bad year. 2009 was a fantastic year because the dollar went down. See, when the dollar goes up, my strategy is to invest internationally. And so when the dollar goes up, and if you have investments around the world, then they're going to go down. And also
sure. Peter, amazing. Thank you. Fourth hour right now, and I'll be back this Sunday, 4 to 6. Yeah, I'd have to be a really big idiot studying geopolitics for 25 years, really longer than that. Officially for 25 years, 21 years on air. That'd be a pretty big moron to see George Soros and others carry out this exact same operation in other countries and then not see it happen here. That's what's so frustrating. David Knight's going to be riding shotgun this entire hour. We're going to go to Nelson and Victor and KHI and Jim and Will and others here in just a moment. And we'll flesh this out more later, David Knight. But I know you've been chomping at the bit watching all this unfold. It would be an incredible promo just for new viewers and listeners to take all the times you and I and others have talked about how they're gearing up a race war, civil unrest, the classic paradigm, and to now see him doing it. But I tell you, Obama has got some big huevos, some big eggs, to come right out and blame the Second Amendment and right out say reform the police, and then a whack job isn't going to go shoot cops. I mean, that is so offensive to me logically when police departments are all these different jurisdictions, different states, individuals, and then you just say, because there's a bad cop here, a bad cop there, I'm going to go kill cops, and the president acts like it's okay. I mean, it's surreal. I mean, this guy is, what's this guy trying to do, David Knight?
Well, Alex, I think, the middle America is really kind of caught in the middle of a couple of pincers. One of them is the increasing militarization of the police. So we've talked about that a long time. You've done documentaries on it. That's coming out of Washington. They've changed the way the local police operate. And at the same time, we've had them institutionalize this kind of racism and hatred. And we see this now with Obama. It's not something that he created. This is something they've been working on for decades. And I think he's really he's not the ultimate end of all this. He's kind of more like the penultimate puppet in all this. But this is something
Next
that's been going back.
He's bringing in the final wave. He's like the false prophet of the race war.
And if you look at everything else that we've been documenting with the social justice warriors and the white privilege narratives that they're pushing, that's coming from people like Bill Ayers. Bill Ayers wanted a revolution in this country, as the communists always do.
He stopped that piece of crap.
Yeah, he stopped blowing up buildings, and he did something that was far more dangerous. He got involved in the educational establishment.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, he got it exactly going after the police. He got involved in the educational establishment, and so from that standpoint, you've got our children being radicalized, even white children, seeing white privilege as the source of all evil and white people as being people that need to be killed. At the same time, you've got the police who are told that they need to shoot first and empty their gun if they start it. You know, they're not as reluctant as they should be or as they used to be in using force. And once they start to use force, they always make it lethal. And so we have these two things coming together. And those of us in the rest of America, we're kind of caught in the middle. We're both the targets of this hatred, and we are going to be the ones who are going to
exactly. We don't support the police problems and the police evils, but we don't support horrible George Soros Civil War communist BS.
That's right. And it's like the Hatfields and the McCoys. You know, nobody's going to care how this started at some point. It's just going to be shoot people based on their skin color.
People say, well, why are you so against Islam now? I tried to stop the clash of civilizations. We knew the globalists were setting it up. They put the worst Muslims in charge. Now they're invading us with them. I feel sorry they're brainwashed zombies. I feel sorry their women are prisoners. But here's the deal. I'm not going to bow down to it. I'm not going to give over my rights. I'm not going to be enslaved. So at a certain point, the war gets so real, you just got to choose a side, David.
That's right. And what we've seen, Alex, is this militarization of the police has gone hand in hand with the government's war on drugs, with their war on terror. And, of course, those are both focused towards our own internal population reality. And we've covered that for a long time as well. And so as you see the proliferation of SWAT teams as it becomes increasingly common, Alex, I can remember looking at Brazil with the movie by Terry Gilliam. It was kind of a Monty Python take on 1984.
Saying, what is a SWAT team? And, when they come in and grab the guy.
Exactly. In 1984, the idea that you'd have these guys in black suits just without a knock blow through this house and bag this guy who's just sitting there. Yeah, coming through the ceiling, bag him and take him away. It's like, wow, that's over the top. Now that's about 80,000 times a year here in America.
I used to have an intro for the TV show that was from Brazil where they cut the hole in the roof and come in and bag the guy and lay the receipt. We should come up with that.
It's not fiction anymore.
No, it's not fiction. We're going right to your phone calls with David Knight and Alex Jones straight ahead and extended live coverage. And I will be here this weekend with special live reports. The saddest part about all this is this country was getting really good about not having racial tension, people getting along with each other, people coming together. And now they've got metrics and studies and polls out. It's the worst it's been since like the 60s. And I know the left's corrupt. I know the right wing's corrupt. I used to be the big guy exposing the right wing. But they really took an opportunity with Obama, and they stuck the knife in. They twisted it. They poured salt in it. And if they would have gotten an establishment Republican in, I'm sure they would have continued the agenda and maybe made it worse than Obama. But because Trump isn't playing along for whatever reason, they hate him and want to stop him. And they're creating this self-fulfilling prophecy that Trump's going to lose. I don't believe the polls. There's a Putin report I want to air part of that kind of got overshadowed by the tragic events in Dallas that we're going to play part of at the bottom of the hour if we take some calls in literally 60 seconds. There's another report with Come and Take It, the big attack on the Second Amendment. We're going to put that up on the site. But Putin's been coming out and saying they're moving missiles in. We may have nuclear war. Your press is controlled. This is dangerous. He said that 3 weeks ago. No Western coverage. That shows the control. I mean, even if he was a bad guy. When Kim Jong-un threatens us, we hear about it because it's not a legitimate threat. But when Putin warns and says, please stop, it's not in our media. And I just don't have confidence in Samantha Powers and Hillary and it's not just that they're women. It's weird. It's like, it's really sick when a guy's a warmonger, but they've killed some people. You're kind of like, well, but then when it's a woman in some dress with fancy diamonds on, it just smells like World War III. It just smells like the end of the world. It's obscene. You know, when you got some big, bad UFC champion on TV saying, I'm the baddest guy in the world, like Brock Lesnar back when he was the top guy, it's like, man, I don't like that guy. That is just arrogant and pathetic. But at least he could back it up for a while. You look at all these weirdo warmongering women on tape going, yeah, let's blow up the Russians. Screw the EU. Yeah, let's have a war. Woo! And like weird weirdos on Fox going, let's kill people. And Hillary, I came, I saw, he died. I'm going to the calls, but David, I mean, is it you? Is it me? I mean, do you resonate with what I'm saying? Do you get creeped out by this?
Absolutely, Alex. And, you know, one of the things that I was very concerned about, as I mentioned in the last thing, is how we're losing our children through the educational system. We need to understand that it was the weather underground that created white privilege. And we talk about this all the time. I mean, that's the other side of the equation. I mean, one part of it is a police department that is being goaded into using excessive force. And we've reported on this at various local and state levels. I mean, out in New Mexico, we had police trainers who, when they were given a federal agenda to teach in the police academy, said, I'm not teaching that. These are veterans who had taught for decades and said, that is a shoot first curriculum. I'm not going to teach that. And so they resigned rather than teach it. But on the other side, we've got them pushing this racial division and hatred. They don't care whether this is going to evolve into fascism, where there's an overreaction on the side of law enforcement against people who are protesting it, or if the protesters turn this into anarchy and we have a socialist takeover. They don't really care which way this goes. They funded both sides in the past, as you pointed out, in World War II. They funded both the communists and the fascists in Germany.
Soros is making money on the euro and on the Brexit.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
I want to go to some phone calls. Great point, David Knight, riding shotgun with me in this hour. I'll be back this Sunday live 4 to 6 p.m. for sure, but we're going to do live reports, special reports, tape reports as this develops, because you notice everything's escalating. I have a sinking feeling we're going to see a lot more, a lot faster. I mean, just the push by the media that the police are out to get you this week. This is the establishment media. This is the globalists that David just pointed out turned many of our police into killers, turned them into these guys that instinctively shoot. So it's just crazy. Great point, David. Let's go to Nelson. Then we're going to go to everybody else, especially holding. Thank you for holding. Nelson, next is Victor. Nelson in Ohio, you're on the air.
Hey, Alex. I've been listening for some years, and we both know that false flags don't necessarily have to be totally fake, and we both know that they are.
This is a false flag. I mean, the media and the government hyped it, so they helped it happen. And then, sorry, go ahead. It's just a false flag doesn't mean it's completely fake. It means they created the climate and allowed this to happen. The media created this. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but, okay, what really made me, I didn't think that really at first, because, you know, I'm all the way here in Ohio. I just, you know, hear what I hear. Well, what made me really think that is when they, first of all, the suspect was in the military, and supposedly, and then when they released this comment, they said something about, you will find the IEDs. And I remember you always played that one clip of the one guy, I forget who it was, talking about a lot of people coming out of the military learn how to,
sheriff's departments all over, and police departments say we've got to have armored vehicles because every department will be attacked by veterans with IEDs. That does kind of fit the narrative, yes.
Yeah, so I just thought, I haven't heard nobody say that, so I thought.
Yeah, well, they're preparing a war against veterans, and so they're getting the police ready for that, but it's not really working. But I don't think that itself is proof of a false flag in a classical sense, but that's a good question. Stay there, Nelson. I want you to be able to respond back. David Knight, what's your take on that?
Yeah, Alex, I really, you know, I don't know. Whenever we look at something like this, we had the Summer of Chaos, if you remember, about a month ago. We were told that D-Ray, the organizer, one of the key organizers of Black Lives Matter, his phone indeed was hacked. But then there were some documents that came out of that. We took a look at it at the time. We said, well, they don't look like they're authentic. It looks like there's some photoshopping stuff going on here. It just didn't seem right. So we didn't report on that in detail. But, you know, whether or not that was real or not, that was one way to get the narrative out there. So was that a COINTELPRO operation, or did they really discover them collaborating with Loretta Lynch to try to create a summer of chaos and shut down the political conventions? That's what's going to happen, quite frankly. So whether or not, I mean, we talked about that happening.
Well, we know it's real because the documents mesh with the open conditioning and programming and operations we see. People always think, oh, secret documents, you don't know. I don't need secret documents, even though we've gotten plenty of them, and boy, I get rid of them quick. You can